Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. And this morning I am going to share something with you that it's taken me a while to get to this point because this recipe takes me a while to get ready for. So it's a Saturday morning and I need a birthday cake for tomorrow evening. Our small group Bible study is coming over and we are celebrating Dr. Schultz's birthday, and he has told us several weeks in a row that this week is going to be his birthday. So we are going to celebrate big. But there's several people in our Bible study that had rather have gluten-free, whether it's a celiac or just a sensitivity to gluten. We want to honor them by letting them celebrate the same as the rest of us do. So this is the cake that is going to shock you. I hope I'm not hitting my microphone. This is the cake that you're going to trick everybody with. This is an angel food cake, and I promise you there will be not one single person in a group of ever how big you serve it to that's going to go, oh, this tastes gluten-free. It does not. And there is no special mix as far as buying a gluten-free mix. Now, you can buy a gluten-free mix. This is a recipe from King Arthur Baking, and you can go to their website and get the recipe. It's not my recipe. I just happened to find it one day, and I'm telling you, this is one of the best cakes that you will make if you'll just take the time to follow the instructions. It's not complicated. It just has several steps of mixing and then pouring something back in there. But watch closely. If you want to skip the video, go straight to the recipe. The recipe is always in the description of our videos. But we're going to start out. I'm going to show you how to make the gluten-free baking mix just from ingredients that you can find at the store. Now, it's not like you're going to run across them in the cereal aisle, or you're going to run across them just, you know, at your local Circle K or 7-Eleven around the corner. You're going to have to search for these, but they're not hard to find. So we're going to start out. This makes about 3 cups of baking mix, and we only need about 3/4 of a cup of it for this particular cake. So we're going to start out with 2 cups of brown rice flour. Now I'm going to show you the packages of these so you can't say, oh, I don't even know what that looks like. This is what it looks like. Gluten-free brown rice flour. Now this is organic, so be a little particular about buying rice that's conventional as opposed to organic. It just has a lot of things going on there. Too much to get into, but you can research it yourself. So this is the brown rice flour that I use. So we'll put it in a little container about like this. This is about 2 cups of brown rice flour, and then 2/3 cup of potato starch. This is what this looks like. This is a brand that's readily available at a lot of stores. It's non-GMO potato starch. So 2/3 of a cup of potato starch. And this stuff will get carried away if you have a fan on. I'm telling you, it'll be all over the kitchen. It is so light and fluffy. All right, got all that out. Then we're going to put in 1/3 cup of tapioca starch. And I'll show you what that package looks like. Just a second. I buy this from Azure Standard, and if you order from Azure, you know what I'm talking about when I say it's a fabulous company. It really is. They deliver to your town once a month. You order online, you pay online, easy to shop, super easy customer service to deal with. It's just an incredible company. But I'm sure there are other brands of tapioca starch out there, so just use what you can find. Now I've got this all mixed together. I will use a whisk, and then I'll transfer this to an airtight container, but for now I'm just going to set that aside. I wanted you to see how we make that gluten-free mix, and I'll even show you a picture of the jar that I normally keep it in. And this is the recipe right there. So if you want to do a screenshot, you can do a screenshot, unless of course it's written backwards, then you won't be doing a screenshot. So anyway, we'll put the recipe for this in the description as well. So we'll get all that set aside. Now we're going to start on our angel food cake. We have our oven preheating to 350, and I have my oven rack on the lowest setting in the oven, and I have the other racks placed high enough above it where it can accommodate this pan. Now my angel food cake pan has little legs on it, so when we take it out of the oven and invert it, that's what that's for. You've probably seen your grandmother or a great aunt or someone take a soda bottle of some kind of glass soda bottle, put it on the countertop and stick this on top of it. But if your pan has these legs on it, you don't need a soda bottle. All this is going to do is allow air to come underneath this without the cake touching the counter. So we're going to set our pan aside. This does not get greased. You don't want any kind of grease in this at all. We want the batter of this cake to be able to climb the edges, and it needs that grip of just a metal surface to be able to climb up. If you grease it, it will not be able to climb up, and it's not going to have as the results that you're expecting probably. So that would be called disappointment. All right, so let's start out with 3/4 a cup of our baking mix. Now this is what we just made up over there, but I happen to have 3/4 a cup left in my jar, so that's what I have here. We're going to take that and let's see, whisk together the flour and cornstarch. Let me get another bowl here. So we have 3/4 a cup of our gluten-free baking mix that we just made. We need 1/4 a cup of cornstarch, and this is my cornstarch. Sometimes I have organic and sometimes I don't. My organic was just in a different jar that I couldn't reach in as easily, so I'm just going to use this. 4 tablespoons equals 1/4 a cup, so that's what we're going to use. To that, we're going to add 3/4 a cup of superfine sugar. Now, I just blended this up in my Vitamix, so it is very superfine. Don't use powdered sugar because it has additional cornstarch in it, and you don't want more cornstarch than what we just put in here. And I don't know how much cornstarch is in that, so I could say leave this much out. So let's go with don't do that. Now, you can use regular sugar, but it's not going to have the same results. It's not going to be quite as smooth. You might possibly have a little bit of a grain of sugar in there throughout, depending on what kind of sugar you use. But this is raw sugar. I'm always talking about this Zulka brand, Z-U-L-K-A, that I buy at our big store. And it's non-GMO. It's not bleached. And I love that silly stuff. I refuse to buy a bleached sugar anymore. Okay, we need 3/4 a cup of this. And this is a 1/4 cup measure. So we'll put 3 of these in here. Now I made just a little over 2 cups of this because we're going to need some more in this recipe. This isn't all the sugar it calls for, but this is just the first time we'll use it in here. All right, I'll use our... No, I'm not going to use our mixer whisk because I need that for something else. Okay, we're going to whisk that. And we're going to set this aside. Did I mention this makes a mess? Okay, but it's worth it. I promise it's so worth it. The funnest part of this cake is giving it to a person who's gluten-free, and they'll have to remind you, oh, I can't eat that, I'm gluten-free. No, really it is. And they will have doubt. They will doubt you, but I'm telling you, it will be the most pleasant surprise ever to them because they think they're never going to experience something that's not gluten-free, feels like it's not gluten-free again, but this is so fabulous. Okay, we're going to take our 1.5 cups of egg whites that we just separated from the yolks. Let's see. The egg whites, the salt, and the cream of tartar. So, egg whites. We need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And we need 1.5 teaspoons of cream of tartar. This is cream of tartar. And our oven has preheated. Okay, we're going to beat this until foamy. Now, I'm just using a hand mixer. If you want to use a stand mixer, that's fine. If I had a clear bowl on my stand mixer where you could see it, I would use that, but I don't. I just have the stainless bowl. So I'm going to do this just so you can see what it's doing in the process. Okay, the recipe says beat it until it's foamy. And as you can see, that's foamy. We're going to need almond extract. And we only need 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. So my little medicine dropper that I use, it's easy to measure with that. I love almond extract. It reminds me of my grandma. She used to make little cakes, and they always had a lot of almond extract in them. All right, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and this is my homemade vanilla extract, and it has a lot of seeds in it, so this might be a speckled cake for sure. Okay, 2 full teaspoons. Now we're going to beat this until it, let's see, add the flavorings, gradually increase the speed of the mixer and continue beating until the egg whites have increased in volume and thickened. So here we go. All right, here's our additional sugar we're going to beat in. I'm going to see if I can get you to see those. I don't know if you can see those specks of vanilla bean seeds in there. It's just incredible how much there is. Okay, another 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of this sugar. Now they talk about their special sugar, so they must. I think King Arthur sells a baker's special sugar. So if you go on their website, you'll see that, and that's fine if you want to go with that. I'm sure it's fabulous, but all their products are. But I just blend up mine in a Vitamix. Okay. So this calls for another 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of the special sugar. So we're going to do the 2 tablespoons first. And it says just beat a little bit in there at a time. So then we'll put 3 of these in there in just a bit. Not right now. We're going to keep beating it up. Okay. This is what the mix is supposed to look like. I'm hoping you can see this from the side. When you lift it up and it makes peaks like that. Let me see if I can get it in the picture. When it makes peaks like that, that's when it's done. It's like a meringue, but of course I'm slinging it all over the counter. All right, let's unplug this. And that's all the beating we're going to do with our mixer. The rest of the ingredients, we're going to fold it in. I have no idea how far and wide I have flung this. So lesson learned here, use a bigger bowl. And I have that big glass bowl that I bought specifically for doing videos so you could see the inside of it, but it doesn't have a handle on it, so it'd be kind of wonky lifting it up because it's kind of a heavy bowl, lifting it up to pour in the tube pan. Okay, next step is we're going to gently fold in the mix. No. Yeah, this mix that we have here. About a 1/4 cup at a time until it's fully incorporated. So that's a 1/3 of a cup. We'll just use that. And if I had more room, yes, it would be easier. But this is the bowl I chose. And I actually thought long and hard about this. And I couldn't remember how much this held. But apparently I could have used a much bigger bowl. So when we say folding in, don't think you're dumb for not knowing what I'm talking about. But this is folding in. It's not like mixing or stirring or whipping. It's just gently folding it in. And the reason being is because you don't want the air bubbles in the meringue to collapse. You just want to get the flour mixture incorporated throughout there as evenly as you can. But really and truly, I have left dry lumps on top of this mix before and put it in the pan, and I thought, oh well, it'll be fine. And it was. Crazy enough. But this cake is pretty foolproof. And I know the mixing process and adding things to it seems kind of long and drawn out, but I cannot say enough good things about this cake. It's absolutely fabulous. Now, I will probably not serve this as a naked cake, but I have some cream cheese frosting in the fridge, and I may put some fresh berries on it and just make it look really, really special. And isn't that what we like to do when we love somebody? Just make it as special as you can. And everybody that I know loves Dr. Sam. Don't get in a big hurry and dump it all in here at once thinking it'll be okay doing that, because then it gets kind of lumpy. You really don't want it lumpy. You want this to be mixed as evenly again as you can. Make sure you scrape down to the bottom of the bowl too and get all that, because sometimes that flour mixture will kind of sneak down there and hide in a little pocket. And when you rake the bottom of it, you'll pull it up and go, where did that come from? The King Arthur recipe also calls for, they sell a gluten-free multi-purpose flour, or they're the ones that gives you the recipe for making your own. So I have not tried their gluten-free mix. Again, I'm sure it's fabulous because their products are just, they really are superior. But I just make my own because I really don't need, a big bag of it. We don't eat that much gluten-free stuff in our house as far as specifically designated for gluten-free, but I like to make little batches of this up. All right, we are ready to pour this in our pan. And this is, again, what our 2-pan looks like. It has little legs on the top. It has 3 of those. And we're going to pour it in here just as evenly as we can around the side and then smooth it out. Again, not a greased pan. Do not grease the pan. And for those who are not familiar with these pans, I don't know if I said it or not, this is called a tube pan. It's similar to a bundt pan, but a bundt pan has a decorative edge on it. Tube pans have the little chimney in the top, and sometimes it's aggravating because you got to get around that. But there's a reason for the design of it, in that the heat comes up through the center of it and bakes from the inside as well as from the outside. This batter smells so very delicious. All right, instead of tapping it on the countertop, I'm just going to kind of wiggle it back and forth. Make sure all the batter is down in there instead of climbing up the side already. All right, again, make sure your baking rack is at its lowest position in the oven. We are going to bake this for 45 minutes. And let me point this toward the oven. There we go. And we'll turn the light on. Pop it in there on the lowest rack. Set it for 45 minutes. And we'll be back. Okay, our timer's going off. I actually added about 8 minutes to the time that it's baking. So, because I've taken them out of the oven before when they weren't quite ready, and just, it was a little wetter in the center that I wanted it to be, so just a little bit more time added to it seemed to do the trick. Okay. And this is what our cake looks like for right now. And just like all Angel Food Cakes instructions say, turn it upside down. We're going to let it sit here on the counter for about 2 hours to let it cool. And then after that time, we can put our frosting on it. But chances are, I will wrap this up, putting it in a container, set it aside, and then tomorrow I will put the cream cheese frosting on it, berries, cinnamon, whatever I find laying around to put in it. Anyway, I think it's going to look pretty. We'll have some candles in there too. I don't think we'll put individual candles on it, but we might put a candle on it just so Dr. Sam can blow out a candle for his birthday. But anyway, I'll try to take some footage of the cake itself and maybe being sliced or something, just so you can get an idea of how beautiful it is on the inside. Honestly, nobody's going to know that this is gluten-free. I guarantee it. It's just so good. The flavor of it, the texture of it, it tastes exactly like just a regular Angel Food cake. So if you like Angel Food cake, this is worth a try. So thanks for watching. We look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. And stick around for the footage of the final product and recipe always in the description. Thanks for joining us, guys.